EKLAVYA. Yeah, good evening everyone. So this is our second class on current affairs related to EKLAVYA program. Yesterday what we done? Not economic survey. We done 15 PYQs. Then we discussed some of the close karna. We discussed all the new schemes that has been launched, released in this, mentioned in the recent budget. Mostly it was like, aim was you should be familiar with the scheme. The new scheme is आया है, इसका objectives क्या है, इसमें क्या सब चीज का बात हो रहा है. Exact specific details both schemes are we haven't go into because most of the schemes are notified. It may become in later phase of the year. So in today's class what we are going to do? We are doing the same format. 15 questions we do from PYQs related to international organizations, international initiatives on that topic. After that, another 15 questions we will discuss new questions that is made depending on the recent events that is happening. So that is what we are going to do. There are how you approach different questions. We have spoken in the science and tech class also. What questions mostly you see is, if you look at last 3 years questions in science and tech, any topic, so many questions from, especially if I talk in science and tech, so many questions from vaccine development, so many questions from regarding virus, infectious diseases. All these questions you can one way or other related to COVID-19 pandemic. But the questions are, you cannot just overwrite it by saying this everything is related to pandemic, so questions are easy. That is not the narrative. These questions are like little tough also, like mostly asked from those areas which you may miss, you may not heard about. Questions are coming from very specific areas, like H2 was there. Some very specific areas questions are coming, but the theme is mainly the same. So a similar trend we can see in current affairs related in national initiatives as well as international organizations also. Yesterday we solved one question on e-commerce. First question I guess. So what was our approach to solving this question? There was a e-commerce rules that has been recently released by the government, and government is saying that they will come up with a e-commerce policy. But what was our approach to the question was, the statements were so logically aligned that if you have the knowledge what is happening, what is XYZ trend in e-commerce industry, why government has to come up with a specific rules, what is the reason for bringing these rules and how effective these are, why government is saying that there should be more stringent rules, what are some of the issues the industry is facing, that's why the rules are becoming more stringent. So if you know this basic XYZ story, this is the happening in this industry, you can answer this question very easily. So you should have some logical clarity on what is happening in different sectors. In some question there will be too much fact-based questions. Fact-packed questions we seen yesterday, like FRBM question. Mostly these questions comes from which areas? These are areas which you should not miss. Like FRBM, what are FRBM data? This question was asked in before years. That time encasing committee report was there. This was a major subject or theme of whatever preparation you are doing. So all the data related to this, even though you may be remembering it right now, that is absolutely fine. But at least that year if you are going for the exam, all specific data related to this you are supposed to be aware of. Another question we did on database question on which one? Food Security Act. Right to Information Act. These all are very always in news. Some very famous acts like path-breaking act, something like that you can say. So if these kind of themes or these kind of topics are picked for exam, You can only expect those questions which are very specific. Question will be very specific. Nobody is going to ask you the objectives of RTI or what are the outcomes of RTI. Maybe in mains you can expect. If a question is coming from these areas, you should have very specific knowledge. So preparing these topics, at least for every subject you should make a list. These are anticipated themes for this year. Then make your own notes for this. Don't depend on any institute XYZ material. You can look at the institute material, you can take it for listing down the topics, but at least for some topics, some themes which you are going to anticipate this kind of question will come in the exam. For that themes, you should work little more on it and have your own set of notes. Google search karo. In international organization, I strongly recommend go to the about page of every organization. I will show you so much screenshot in the later half of today's class. Like so many minute details which questions can be framed on it, and UPSC has picked many questions from this from the about page of famous organizations. If you have only read the material institute 1 page, half page which we provide, that is anyway not going to sufficient. Now there are some other topics, like give me some example. One word topics like what this is. What we did yesterday. Today we will discuss polar code. So question from these topics, what it is asked, what is polar code? And what is you are supposed to know only what exactly this is. So this type of topics, this is a broad list. You cannot Google search everything and find. And what is your objective here in doing such kind of topics? Horizontal coverage is more important. Some new species is discovered. Only question that can come from that is what kind of species it is. It is a frog, it is a spider, where it is discovered, if it is in Western Ghats or in Andaman and Nicobar or in Eastern India or which part of the country this is discovered. In this kind of question, horizontal coverage is more important. Here you can depend on compilations. Here if you go and try to make your own notes or your own Google search, it will take huge amount of time. So these kind of topics, it is okay, you can depend on XYZ good compilation which have good coverage. Otherwise, there are other topics. Whenever you are studying something, you should at least be aware of what is the XYZ happening in that industry. Then if a very important theme like COVID-19 was such an important theme, you are preparing that theme, always go ahead whatever institute material you have. Make your own set of notes and your own set of everything. For international organization, at least for famous 20 organization or 20-30 organization, go to the about page of every organization and read about it at least once before going into the exam. So other topics are very like only one word or explanation you require. That kind of very factual topics you can depend on XYZ compilation. So this should be your XYZ approach to it. Go ahead. We'll start with today's activity. So this is the first question. Answer it. Okay. What is answer? Not answered. Guess something, give me some, try to apply some logic, find some answers. C. You also mark C. U, B, C. Okay, let's go through the question. Consider the following statement. Say 2022 question. The climate group is an international non-profit organization that drives climate action by building large networks and runs them. What is your primary, what is coming into your mind reading this? Three people took this as wrong statement. Why? Okay, you gone by other statement, eliminated it and reached. Okay. Okay, one thing is climate action group, climate group. That should be somewhere XYZ related to climate change. Climate change means some technology transition helping will be done, some funding may be done, some kind of collaboration platform will be done. So this is non-profit organization that drives climate action. These are all large networks and runs them. Everything is in line with same idea. There is nothing which I can pick that this can be logically wrong statement. Even if I suppose I don't know nothing about climate group. Now go to second statement. International Energy Agency IEA in partnership with climate group launched a global initiative EP100. Now you heard about EP100? This is some mistake. EP100 was in news. This question can only be very comfortably answered if you know why EP100 was in news. Anyone remember EP100? It is related to energy efficiency. What was more important was Dalmia, exactly the name is Dalmia Cement and JSW Cement. These two companies joined this EP100 initiative and they came up with some targets citing increasing energy efficiency as well as reducing the greenhouse gas emissions. So this was in news. There were other news like bigger firms like Adani Group, Ambani Group. These groups are also investing more on hydrogen. They are also at their level taking up some initiatives related to climate change. So private sector engagement into climate sector or climate targets in achieving the Paris Agreement targets or other targets, private companies are also coming to be a part of it. Due to this XYZ, this was in news. This awareness you should have heard, at least from compilation, you should have heard this news at least. Then attempting this question become very easy. Second statement also you hold it. EP100 brings together leading companies committed to driving innovation in energy efficiency, increasing competitiveness while delivering on emission of reduction targets. If you have known the news, this is EP100 is talking about companies. If you heard somewhere this news, you can strike and come up with this, remember this at least. You will 100% take this as correct statement. Now, some Indian companies are part of it. This exactly this statement is derived from this recent happening. The name of the company is omitted. There is no way, even if you don't know much about it, some Indian companies, if a big initiatives is there, Indian companies are becoming global, they should be a part of it. India is in the forefront of climate action and all this. Third and fourth statement, I 100% take right. Now come to the fifth statement. International Energy Agency is the secretariat to UNDER 2 coalition. Anyone remember what is UNDER 2 coalition? What is it? It is related to it. Aim is reducing emissions in line with Paris Agreement. It is related to this climate action. But what is the speciality of under 2 coalition? It is a subnational grouping. Subnational grouping means state governments, regional governments, these are the stakeholders, not a countries or a major national governments. So if you can know 3 and 4, I should 100% take right. Which are option I can eliminate? There is no 3 and 4. There is no 3 and 4. Either these two I should go with. Either B or D. Here it becomes little tough. Because if you know, can relate International Energy Agency, this has no XYZ connection with climate group. Climate group is a completely a non-profit organization, like totally a private like organization. It has no connection with IEA or any other grouping. This statement is also wrong. Fifth statement is also wrong. At least by confidence you should eliminate 2 options in this question. Beyond that, exactly picking one option, you will require some specific knowledge that this grouping XYZ is not associated with any of the other organizations. So what is the answer here? B is the correct answer. 1, 3 and 4 is correct. Go ahead. This is something related to EP100. Non-profit climate group bringing together 120 energy, smart business, XYZ and all. Can go through it. Yeah, answer the second question. Comparatively much easier question. Okay, should have done this very fast. What is answer? D, anyone countering this? D. So 3 institutions are given. Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Same question came on 2018 also, I guess. A detailed question on this. 75 plus countries, 76 plus countries are part of this grouping. So same themes are repeated, or same bank, same institutions are repeated. So we are saying, like, even when we are discussing PYQ, important organization, list down it, make a list of 20, 30. Do very deep research on this. So AIIB, what is it? What is it all about? Multilateral financing institution. Where is the headquarters? Beijing is the headquarters. How many countries are part of it now? 3. 26. Tell me how many countries are part of AIIB? More than 80. Any other numbers? We have 5 to 80. 104 or something is the current membership. More than 100 countries are part of this grouping. What is specialty of this grouping? Is it contains only Asian members or other members are also part of it? Giving funding and all. Like Asia is the highest number of countries out of these 100 countries. Asia may have highest number of countries. After this, we have European countries as the highest, then Africa. It has countries from all over the world. Now, what is MTCR? We discussed this in last class also, last 2 class before. What is MTCR? Why it was in news in December, January this month? BrahMos, we did the testing of the BrahMos. Earlier BrahMos was having a range of, BrahMos is what kind of missile? Where it is launched from? Multi-platform missile. It can be launched from air, water, land, everywhere. What is the speed of supersonic or subsonic? Supersonic. What is the speed range? 2.8 Mach around. What is speed of Rafale aircraft? Is it more than this or less than this? Around 1.8 Mach is the speed of Rafale aircraft. BrahMos missile is having 2.8 highest supersonic missile. Now why it is in news? Because we did the testing for 450 kilometer range. Earlier the range of BrahMos missile was 290 kilometer. Why it was kept at 290 kilometer? Because India was not a part of MTCR. MTCR restricts countries which are not a part of it for having 500 kg, 300 kg. If you are not a part of MTCR, you are not accessible to technologies having more than this. So India kept this range of BrahMos missile at 290. Now India is a part of MTCR, we have done testing for 450 kilometers. Now it is, news is there, it is going to be extended to 750, 800 kilometers. So MTCR, what is other major technology control regime? Wassenaar Agreement. What is this for? What is it for? Dual use technologies. Dual use technology, transfer of dual use technology. Dual use means it can be used like some biological weapons, it can be used out of it, or some nuclear associated technology also can be used of it. Can be a multi-purpose. Dual use technology control regime is Wassenaar Agreement. Is India part of it? So this is India in 2016-17. India launched in India became a part of MTCR. Then what is third one? Shanghai Cooperation Organization. I don't think we should discuss more about it. Which are countries part of it? This is an initiative led by China and Russia. Plus Central Asian republics are part of it. And recently India and Pakistan were made a part of it, not Afghanistan. So SCO is also recently in news regarding INSTC and all. What is INSTC? International North-South Transport Corridor. It connects Moscow to India, Indian Ocean. Why is it news? That was also there, but after the Ukraine war, trade between India and Russia increased multifold, especially the crude oil trade. So countries were encouraging to get this INSTC materialized. This route is much easier than the ocean route. And there has been some movement of goods through this route. So locate where it is, which all countries it passes through. There is high chance a question can come from this. Okay? So here answer is D itself, 1, 2 and 3. India is a part of all of these grouping. This is a very easy question. Anyone who decently done the preparation should not miss out this question. Go ahead, answer the third question. This one, yeah. Wait to 7 minutes for one question. If you're watching online, you can comment your answers in the live chat. Okay. What is answer? C. C. All gone with C. How to answer this question? These are one of the other questions where whatever trend is recently happening, like in e-commerce we told. You only need to know the trend to answer this question. This is a similar question like this. It is not the fact knowledge that is going to help you here. You should know what Vietnam is doing. Why Vietnam is in news? China countries are very active in shifting industries from China. Why? One is this COVID issue. China is becoming unreliable. COVID issue and Australia issues was it. What was the issue?
They are militarizing.
Militarizing of trade, yeah, exact keyword. What is the issues between Australia and China? During COVID time, Australia was in the forefront of saying there should be independent. That came after this. The issue started with Australia was in the forefront with Trump saying that there should be very much independent investigation into origins of COVID virus. And how China responded? China put phytosanitary measures on. What is phytosanitary measures? On beef and dairy export from Australia. Beef and dairy are the major exports from Australia to China. So China put some phytosanitary measures on these. Phytosanitary measures means technical barriers. Technical barriers means sometimes these chemicals should be less than this percent, and that amount of percent will be kept so low that the XYZ country cannot produce beef or dairy products within that limits. So one way you are creating a system so that your country cannot export into your country. So China responded by militarizing the trade. So many countries you can associate this with military exercises after this going on in the Indo-Pacific Ocean. Australia signed a pre-FTA agreement with India after this. All these are one way or other connected with Chinese happening, militarization of trade by China. What else? What we are discussing? Yeah, industries are going out of China. One is this China's attitude. Second, China, what is undergoing? China came into forefront by cheap labor. In 1990s, China was having the cheapest labor. That was one of the greatest advantage of China. But that today has changed. Labor price is increasing in China. Why labor cost is increasing? It is one way or other associated with failure of China's one-child policy. China recently in 2016, I guess, withdrawn the one-child policy, and they are now promoting Chinese to produce more children. 2 children, 3 children is going to be implemented there. So failure of this policy, there is demand crunch in the market, and this is leading to increase in labor cost. So China is losing advantages at least in low-cost industries, low-cost manufacturing, low-end manufacturing industries. So this industry is going out. Who are capturing? Vietnam is very in forefront in capturing the electronic industry. Electronic industry in Vietnam is quite very famous. Even though very small country, there can be an export hub for electronics markets, electronic goods market. Which other country you can think of? Textiles is captured by Bangladesh. India is also doing XYZ same things. India is also making growth in industry as well as textiles also. But these are some very prominent examples you should not miss out. Okay, now this much of background you know. Now come to the question. Vietnam has been one of the fastest growing economies in the world in the recent years. Very much correct, very much generalistic statement. There is no way you are going to take this as wrong. Vietnam is led by multi-party system. It's not easy to remember this in the exam. You can think whatever you want to think. If you know, it's great, you have that much memory power. Otherwise, remembering this is quite tough. Come to third option. Vietnam's economic growth is linked to integration with global supply chain and focus on exports. Very much industry is growing by doing this only. 3 I should take right, 1 I should take right. Now for a long time, Vietnam's low labor cost and stable exchange rate have attracted global manufacturers. Low labor cost maybe, but stable exchange rate I have no idea about, like not sure. Vietnam has most productive e-services. If you most productive is like you are giving it like beyond India also. India is a leader in e-services. Beyond, so most productive means it becomes a very extreme statement. And even if you know Vietnam is not having that much of e sector, this IT sector and all is not that much developed, services sector is not the stronghold of Vietnam. And this is a very extreme statement. I have more tendency to take this as wrong. So what is left? 5 go wrong. What left? 1 and 3 should be there. 1 and 3 is not here, 1 and 3 is not here, only 1 and 3 is left here. So answer is C. So there is such kind of questions where what you only require is the general trend in the industry. It only come from regular reading newspapers and all this. Go ahead. Answer the fifth question, fourth question, fifth question in your sheet it will be. Question number 5 in your sheet. हो गया? What is answer? D. Any other suggestion? Number 4. Tell me. D. All are going with D. All are wrong. What is this? United Nations Credential Committee. Why it was in news? Tell me. Remember? Credentials. Where credentials will come into picture? Human rights. Sporting of arms. Credentials, what does it mean? Something like are you qualified to sit here? That's I am going to check. So United Nations Credential Committee means something like are XYZ countries or groupings eligible to sit there. And where it was in news? It was in controversy because whether Afghanistan new regime should be given a seat in UN General Assembly meeting that year that was happening after the Taliban takeover. Whether same with Myanmar also. Whether the military regime in Myanmar should be given a XYZ position in UN General Assembly. So that time it was in news. So it is a committee set up by not UN Security Council, by UN General Assembly to check the credentials of its members. Now it traditionally meets in March, June and September. When this UN General Assembly meet happens? It mostly happens in December. So this credential committee is somewhere formed in November or 1-2 months before that, and before the meeting it will submit its report to UN General Assembly. So these are all absurd months that is given. That is also absolutely wrong. It assesses the credentials of all UN members before submitting a report to General Assembly for approval. This is what the credential committees do. This is what exactly the functions of credential committee. So what we are left with here? 3 only. A is the correct answer. Good to go? It's more like a factual question. Go ahead. Answer the 5th question, 6th in your sheet. What is polar code? Tell me what is answer? Who is saying C? Any other? And one is left. C. Which of the following statement best describes polar code? Why this question came? India has recently launched a Arctic policy. There is one reason. Second, there has been in the recent past, not this year, in last 2-3 years, there has been shipping routes open. Shipping routes open through the Arctic. Through the pole region, we have new shipping routes due to melting of ice that is opened, and ships started doing some one or two passages through this. So these two reasons, Arctic become a very important regime. Now exact answer for this, it is an international code of security for ship operating in polar waters. What should be, why security standard should be very high? Oil spill can happen in anywhere. The main idea is this is ice laden area. Sometimes the ship has to break the ice and go, or sometimes the ice can, high risk of hitting ice is always there. So there should be higher safety standards for ships or higher technology standard for ships operating in the polar region. So this is an safety standards released by International Maritime Organization. Go through this organization, what XYZ it is, go through its about page and we will see it. There is one more very important organization in this, what it is called? Arctic Council. I think in the later part of the class we will have a question on Arctic Council, so we will discuss in detail about this. It is a set of norms to be followed by countries whose scientists undertake research. South Pole is also written there. Good, good. Go ahead. Answer the 7th question in your sheet. Answer is A. What is answer? Tell me. A. Any other? D. Which one? D. With reference to United Nations General Assembly, consider the following statements. UN General Assembly can grant observer status to non-member states. Why this question? Tell me. You can relate to any recent XYZ happenings. These all are 2022 questions. That's why this question coming is more important. If we are discussing 2018-19 question, that current affairs might have fully forgotten. Totally not relevant right now. Why this is important? International Solar Alliance was granted observer status. Observer status is usually given to non-members itself. So this is like very direct statement. UN General Assembly, World, WMO, we know many organizations has been granted this observer status, and this is granted to organizations that are not members. Permanent members are not given any observer status. Very much correct. Intergovernmental organization can seek observer status. That is very much ISA is like an intergovernmental organization. Permanent observers in UN General Assembly can maintain mission at UN headquarters. This is also correct option. Answer is 1, 2 and 3. Not that much tough question it is. UN General Assembly here and ISA news, if you can recollect. Options are also very straightforward. What you answered that time? In exam. Okay, answer the 7th question. 8th in your sheet it will be. This is tell me क्या आंसर है? C. Any other? B. Tell me what any other? Consider the following statement. BDBD is a large refugee settlement in northwestern Kenya. There was a news that Kenya is going to close down Dadaab refugee complex. Sorry. This is the basis for this XYZ question. This was in news, and this is one of the world's largest refugee camps, having more than 2 lakh families or so. So this was a major news. This XYZ question is derived from this. This BDBD is in, where it is? It is in Uganda. Not in Kenya. This option is wrong. Some people fled from South Sudan civil war, live in BDBD. It's a refugee settlement, you can guess also it can be a feasibility. Some people living means it's a very forcible solution. Some people who fled from civil war in Somalia live in Dadaab refugee complex in Kenya. Here if you know, Dadaab is a very world's biggest refugee camp. Whatever issues, this is also in Africa also. So there can be possibility some people will be living there. And there is some is given. There is an indication these all can go right. There is no extreme statement to pick wrong from these. Correct answer is 2 and 3, and there is one more hint for this question. There is no 1, 2 and 3. So at least you are going with some is there, and these are logically also very much feasible. Refugee camp is there. These countries, Sudan, South Sudan, have civil war issues. Somalia have civil war issues. These are very much logical. These two statements, if you are saying you are not going to counter these statements, there is only one option left, that is 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3 is there, then you will have to exactly know where Kenya, where the BDBD camp is. That would have made question more difficult. Okay, then you can only eliminate one. You answered correctly? Good, good. Go ahead, answer 8 question, 9th in your sheet. Sorry. You have learned all the PYQs and came for the class. You have gone through all the PYQs. Same grouping. Good, good, good. So why this question came? There was a summit recent happening of these countries. Summit as an organization of Turkish state summit happened. Otherwise, this is a very non-famous organization. Ukraine issues were there. Turkey was in news. Turkey, ports of Turkey, treaty related to Turkey was in news. So many things related to Turkey was in news. But question came from some very non-famous organization. So that becomes very challenging. What is answer here? C is the correct answer. Which all countries are a part of this? Turkey is there. Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan. These 5 countries are part of this grouping. You have gone through reading, you can apply it. Otherwise, you can apply extreme logic like this. These 2 are fighting countries, so these cannot be in same grouping. Good, good. This also organization is also related to language. Same language speaking countries, the grouping is there. So otherwise, if you don't know, don't put so much pressure and answer this question. This is also one of the question. If you don't know, don't answer also. Take that is also as a relevant option. In this kind of question like UN General Assembly question, this you should answer and you should get it right. But this is okay to lose if you don't know. Nothing you have heard about this XYZ organization. You cannot recollect anything, then you should leave also. That kind of question it is. Language logic you can if you can recollect that this is something related to language, and these two, any of these countries are totally another language speaking country, or something issue logic like he said, you can apply it, you can apply that. But I'm saying if you are reading it for the first time, organization of Turkish state you are reading for the first time, and you don't know anything geopolitical happening that is happening in that region, not well aware of, then this is those question, it is okay to leave also. I'm not forcing to leave, but consider that as an option. Don't go for extreme guessing, like any or no option you can eliminate and you are guessing out of 4. Don't do that kind of things at least. Go ahead, answer this question, 9 question. This is one question where our so-called logics are questioned. What is answer? Let everyone finish. क्या आंसर है? D. You are saying C. C. This is also quite very tough question. In exam condition, it's a tough question. Why it is tough? If you don't know too much exact data of what nautical mile is territorial sea, what nautical mile is exclusive economic zone, we say that there are data packed question. There will be data in every options. In that question, logically what we are thinking is at least one data is correct, other data may be given wrong. But here all data is given exactly correct. Up from land to 12 nautical mile it is territorial waters. Then from here 200 nautical mile it is exclusive economic zone. Both these are correct. If you remember this geography note which you have read, then a coastal area, that is exact definition is given. Territorial waters it is. This is correct, and the exclusive economic zone shall not include 200 miles from the baseline. 1 and 3 should be correct. 1 and 3 should be correct. At least 2 options you can eliminate with confidence. Now game is between C and D. For that you have to know ships of all states. There is so much extreme. All states, whether of coastal, landlocked, enjoy right of innocent passage through territorial waters. Territorial waters, it is like a sovereign of XYZ country. Is a country pass through it or no? You know. Otherwise, it's very difficult to guess. Technically, this is the correct option. All ships has the right to pass. Innocent ships has the right to pass through the territorial waters of all countries. And there is exact definition of what all constitute innocent passage means. That is also given under this XYZ treaty, UN close treaty. So correct answer here is 1, 2, and 3. Innocent passage means that nation will be notified we are going through this XYZ path. It's not like without their knowledge you are not going. It's not like this. And there is other condition also. You cannot pass your military ship through there. Only for a specific things you can pass through. So this is 1, 2, and 3 is the correct answer. Yeah. It is from the coastal itself, right? It is from coastal itself, not from territorial waters. All statements are given are correct. Why difficulty of this question is all facts given in the statements are correct. Then you have something like territorial water, you assume it as sovereignty of that country. Now all ships, all innocent ships have right to pass means tendency is if you don't know, there is a huge chance you will take this as a wrong statement. But even though it is very tough question, you should able to eliminate 2 options. That is something that is expected. Here these 2 it is become very tough to get the correct answer. Go to the 10th question. It will be 11th in your sheet. But it is Seneca covalence, very easy. What is takeaway from this question? I think every one of you, we have also discussed many times this Seneca covalent issue. What is answer? Which one of the following statement best reflects the issue with Seneca covalence? Something mentioned in the news. It is territorial conflict between China and Japan.
Rather than a permanent, there is no twist in the answer, like the IEA is a part of EPFO, it was a member of blah blah blah. Short, straightforward, like China and Japan.
What is takeaway from these kind of questions? These are categorically easy questions. Even nothing related to this, we have discussed Senkaku Island issue many times. We have in militarization of trade and all, China blocked this after Senkaku Islands issue became major issue in 2000s. China blocked this export of rare earth elements into this Japan. And Japan's whole electronics industry was collapsed due to it. It took long years to get this industry into the back level. Point is, these are very easy questions. In paper, there will be around 20 easy questions for say. And these, okay, take lesser number. But these kind of question you are not expected to miss out. These are questions you should get from your knowledge itself, not from your logic or XYZ logic. Go ahead. Everybody should mark it. If you are not marking it, you are becoming way behind the curve. Otherwise, you are not marking a very tough question, very like BD question of North Kenya, you are not sure about, you are leaving it. Or this Turkish question, you are leaving it. It's okay, it's acceptable. Some question will be like that, you haven't heard about it and you are liberty to leave this. That I'm not aware of. So this kind of question from polity also, some very direct, straightforward question. These question you should be not missing out by any chance. Your preparation also, your attitude should be like, if you are preparing XYZ topics, a question come from this, you should not miss it out, you should get it 100%. Go ahead, answer the 11th question. It will be 14 question in